Welcome back, everyone. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're unpacking a total masterclass in business resilience called the CEO Financial Blueprint: Protection, Profit, and Scale. If you've ever felt like you're just kind of reacting to your business instead of actually directing it, this explainer is absolutely going to change how you look at things. We're going to break down the foundational frameworks that separate a highly vulnerable side hustle from a truly scalable, bulletproof enterprise. But to really understand why getting the structure right matters so much, we have to talk about a very real, honestly harrowing event. Take a look at Amalia's totaled car from December 10th, 2023. She was just heading to a client event, doing her normal routine, when out of nowhere she got T-boned. The airbags deployed, the car was completely destroyed, and she suffered a severe concussion. Almost overnight, the CEO of a thriving, busy company was physically limited to working maybe 30 to 60 minutes a day, and that lasted for months. And to make a terrible situation even worse, there was a massive $20,000 uninsured motorist loss that literally just vanished into thin air while she was sitting in the ER. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, an accident like this is the ultimate wake-up call, right? It forces you to realize that if you are the single point of failure in your business, your entire livelihood can vanish in the blink of an eye. So, could your current setup survive that kind of disaster? Let's get into Section 1. The three business structures. This brings up a pretty uncomfortable question. If that had been you on December 10th, would your business have survived the impact? Generally, there are three distinct tiers of business structure. Tier 1 is the sole proprietor. Honestly, this is the highest risk level you can have. There's zero state registration, you're using your personal social security number, and here's the kicker, you have absolutely no liability protection. Your personal assets are totally exposed. Then you have Tier 2, the single-member LLC. This one gives you a partial liability shield, but you're still taxed just like a Tier 1, and you miss out on employee status benefits. Finally, there's Tier 3, which is an LLC with an S-Corp election. This is the ultimate maximum structure. You get full liability protection, you run actual payroll, and, crucially, you gain employee status, which makes you eligible for things like workers' comp. But wait, there is a massive, absolutely crucial caveat for anyone in Tier 2 or Tier 3. Never, ever commingle your personal and business funds. Seriously, if you use your business account to pay for personal groceries, you pierce what's called the corporate veil. If you ever get sued, the courts can point right at that commingling and completely strip away all those structural protections you just worked so hard to put in place. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, moving right into Section 2, 6 strategic business protections. You see, structural defense is just step one. To truly bulletproof your operation, we have to pivot from legal structures to actual strategic insurance armor. So many business owners just assume their personal auto policy has their back on the road. It doesn't. If you're driving to a client event, just like Amalia was, you absolutely need commercial auto insurance. You also need workers' comp, which unfortunately Amalia learned the hard way she was missing. Beyond that, you've got general liability for your standard claims and professional liability, or E&O, to shield your professional reputation. Then make sure you lock in business life insurance so your company doesn't go under if you pass away. And finally, number 6 is a total game changer, business interruption insurance. This literally pays your salary when a disaster strikes and you physically can't work. Now let's shift from defense to offense. Section 3, profit first and tax strategy. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how we capture wealth once we've built that defensive fortress around your business. We have to talk about a major psychological shift. The old, frankly broken formula everyone uses is revenue minus expenses equals profit. That essentially makes profit a complete afterthought, right? It's whatever happens to be left over, which, let's be honest, is usually nothing. Mike Michalowicz's profit-first method flips this whole thing on its head. The new formula is revenue minus profit equals expenses. By actually pulling your profit out first, you force your business to operate purely on what is actually left over. So, how do you actually execute this? You essentially divide your money into 5 specific buckets. All incoming money flows right into income. From there, you immediately siphon off your profit, usually about 5% or so. Then you move 15 to 20% into a taxes account, so you never, ever owe the IRS money you don't have. Next up is owner pay, making sure you actually get compensated for all your hard work. And whatever is left, That goes into operating to actually run the business. And hey, here's a great pro tip from the source material. If managing 5 physical bank accounts sounds like a huge headache right now, you can just use sub-accounts inside of QuickBooks to get this exact same level of visibility. Super easy. Once you're successfully capturing that profit, you've got to protect it from the tax man, which brings us to a very special number, 14. This represents the Augusta rule, and it is an absolute powerhouse of a wealth-building tool. Under this specific IRS code, you can literally rent your personal home to your business tax-free for up to 14 days out of the year. Your business gets to write it off as a completely valid tax deduction, and you pocket that rental income without paying a dime of taxes on it. No way, right? But it's true. But the Augusta rule is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Real tax strategy is about way more than just handing over a return in April. It's about setting up accountable plans so you can reimburse yourself for home and auto expenses completely tax-free. It's about S-Corp salary optimization, which can quite literally cut your self-employment tax in half. And it's about utilizing Section 179 deductions to fully write off heavy equipment or software in year 1, drastically lowering your taxable net income. Let's move along and see how this all builds together into true leadership. Section 4, Scaling with Team and AI. Okay, so you've got the protection lockdown, and you're capturing profit. Now, to truly step into that CEO role, we have to talk about scaling. And counterintuitively, scaling usually means doing less, not more. This concept perfectly captures the mindset shift you need. Who, not how. It's a philosophy popularized by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy. Think about it. When you hit a bottleneck, your brain probably instantly goes, okay, how do I do this? You have to stop doing that. Instead, you need to start asking, who can do this for me? Delegation isn't some fancy luxury. It is literal survival for your business. Finding your who really starts with building an expert advisory team. You need a bookkeeper and a tax strategist to handle your structural setup and tax savings. You need a business attorney and an insurance advisor to watch out for your blind spots. And for sure, you need a business banker who can hook you up with capital when it's time to hit the gas. You have to build these relationships right now while the skies are clear, not when you're sitting in a hospital ER trying to manage a crisis. And hey, your who doesn't even have to be a human being anymore. Check out this incredible AI stack you can deploy right this second to massively boost your efficiency. You can use Claude for deep analytical work, Lovable to spin up apps without writing a single line of code, and Gamma to generate beautiful presentations in minutes. Notebook LM is absolutely fantastic for turning your messy PDFs into instant, digestible insights. And Hagen? It lets you create highly professional marketing videos using AI avatars, so you don't even have to set up a camera. Then Zapier ties the whole shebang together by automating all your workflows. This entire stack is what allows you to effortlessly step out of the daily grind and actually work on your business, instead of just in it. Which brings us to our final section, your 60-day survival challenge. We have covered a massive amount of ground in this explainer, right? Everything from legal shields and insurance armor to profit funnels and AI automation. Now, it's time to bring all of this together and put your own business to the ultimate test. I really want you to sit with this question for a second. If you experienced a sudden disaster today, just like Edmalia did on that December morning, and you could only work 30 minutes a day, could your business survive the next 60 days? Honestly. Would your structure actually protect your home? Would your insurance replace your lost income? Would your team and your AI systems keep the lights on without you? If your answer is no, or even if it's just, well, I'm not really sure, then you've got some gaps that need to be audited immediately. Please don't wait for a crisis to expose the cracks in your foundation. The source material has a very clear challenge for you. Take action right now and book a discovery call with Edmalia at EC Service Provider LLC. Her team specializes in uncovering these exact operational, structural, and financial gaps, and, more importantly, fixing them. You've seen the blueprint today. The only question left is, are you finally ready to step fully into the role of the CEO and build a business that actually serves you? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.